Some friends had gone to hang out at the beach, but they suddenly fell victim to a demon that lived beneath the sand. Where did this story begin? Let's find out. On a dangerous beach at night, a group of people were partying by the shore. They had no idea of the danger lurking nearby. So immersed were they in the party that they didn't realize how late it had gotten. While partying, they found a strange object, something none of them had ever seen before. Little did they know that this mysterious thing would soon become the reason for their deaths. Unaware of its danger, they all laughed it off and ignored it. They were so lost in their fun that they eventually got tired and each one just collapsed and fell asleep wherever they could find space. By morning, people started waking up one by one. One of them, a girl named Marcia, had just opened her eyes. The moment she woke up, she started vomiting. Seeing her throw up, everyone still thought things were normal. What they didn't realize was that during the night, there had been many more people, but now only a few were left. Marcia wasn't feeling well. Something deep inside her felt off. Just then, one of the girls noticed a crow sitting on the ground nearby. But moments later, she saw that the crow was suddenly pulled down into the sand. It was as if some huge quicksand had swallowed it whole. Seeing this, the girl started to sense danger. Terrified, she ran to Marcia, screaming, "Don't put your foot on the ground. There's a monster beneath it." But before Marcia could react, she had already stepped down. At first, nothing happened. But then, something from underneath started pulling her foot into the ground. Her leg was sinking deeper and deeper. She tried using her hands to pull herself out, but it didn't help. Her hand was now also getting pulled into the sand. She was in extreme pain and began screaming loudly. Her friends stood there frozen in fear, unable to move. No one had the courage to help her. If they tried, they might get stuck too. Everyone was panicking, trying to figure out how to save her. One of her friends, who had been sitting in the car, couldn't bear to watch anymore and decided to come out and help. The others tried to stop him, but he refused to stay back. As he stepped forward onto the sand, his legs immediately began to sink. He fell face first to the ground. Since he landed with his face down, his mouth got stuck in the sand. That's when he realized that there was a demon underneath, pulling him down. He tried to lift his head with all his strength, but when he finally did, the skin from half his face had been torn off by the sand. The ground-dwelling demon had brutally injured him. His friends rushed to start the car to get help, but at that moment, the car wouldn't start. Meanwhile, one of the friends standing on a nearby tower throws a rope to try and save the boy who had fallen into the sand. But by now, the boy was in no condition to grab it. Right in front of everyone's eyes, his entire body slowly sank into the ground. Witnessing this horrific sight, everyone began screaming in terror. Panic set in, and they realized they had to get out of there as quickly as possible, or none of them would survive. The boy who had tried to start the car, Jonah, once again rushed to the vehicle and desperately tried to start it, but it still wouldn't turn over. Amidst all the chaos, a chubby guy who had been sitting in a large metal drum had no idea what danger surrounded him. He was stuck inside the drum, struggling to get out. The others saw him and shouted, "Please stop moving. If you fall from that drum onto the ground, the sand demon will pull you under." The man, thinking they were all just messing with him, replied, "You guys are joking around with me." He continued to rock the drum in pain and frustration. He didn't believe them. After all, he hadn't witnessed any of the horrors they had seen with his own eyes. To keep him still, one of the friends lied and said, "Someone is coming to help us in the next 2 hours. Just don't move until then. We've already called for help." Hearing this, the man agreed to stay put. But in reality, no one had called for help. All of them were now completely stuck there. Marissa's friend began to wonder, "We were partying on this same beach just last night. Why didn't anything happen to us then? And where are all the other people who were here?" They all began to suspect the truth. The other partygoers must have been pulled into the sand during the night. The only reason they were still safe was because they had fallen asleep in their cars or on higher ground. Suddenly, the chubby guy started yelling again, "The sun is burning me up." So one of his friends threw him a bottle of sunscreen and said, "Put this on. It'll help you cool down." After applying the sunscreen, he felt a bit more relaxed. That's when their eyes drifted to the strange object they had found the night before, the same one they had carelessly broken and damaged. Because it had been dark, they hadn't realized how massive or mysterious it really was. But now, in daylight, they realized they had made a huge mistake by destroying it. It had split in two, and whatever had been sealed inside, it had definitely gotten out. That thing was now pulling people into the ground. When Marissa's friend threw something onto the sand, it too was immediately sucked in. That confirmed it. The sand demon was very real, and escaping it might no longer be possible. Despite everything that was going wrong, Jonah tells everyone, "We can't just sit here doing nothing. We have to find a way to deal with this sand demon." He grabs a skateboard, places it on the ground, and tries to use it to slide his way toward the table. Slowly, and with great caution, he makes it to the table. But just as he steps onto it, the skateboard slips out from under his foot and he nearly falls to the ground. The sand demon immediately tries to attack his stomach, but Jonah, without panicking, manages to scramble fully onto the table just in time. There, he finds a bag. When he opens it, he discovers some food inside. He takes out a banana and starts eating it, but almost immediately, he starts to throw up. When he lifts his shirt and looks at his stomach, he sees several deep wound marks all over it. Everyone is deeply worried seeing Jonah in this state, but he tells them, "I'm fine. You all just focus on staying safe." To help keep everyone hydrated, Jonah tosses some drinks toward them. But right then, a sharp pain stabs through his stomach, and blood begins to leak from his wounds. Seeing this, one of his friends becomes overwhelmed and starts crying. Jonah gently tells her, "Don't cry, we're strong. We'll make it." Then he lies down on the table, exhausted. Meanwhile, a girl sitting in the car says, "All our phones are in the trunk. We need to get them so we can call for help." But no one wanted to risk it. From where they were sitting, opening the trunk wasn't possible without stepping on the dangerous sand. One girl finally says, "I'll try." She walks over and starts trying to open the trunk, but it won't budge. Another girl hands her a piece of cloth so she can use it to avoid falling onto the ground. Even with that, the trunk still wouldn't open. Then Jonah's friend gives her a metal rod and says, "Maybe this will help." Carefully and with a lot of effort, the girl finally manages to open the car trunk, and inside, they find the phones. Just then, far off in the distance, they spot a police car approaching. Seeing it gives everyone a glimmer of hope. They begin shouting for help, but suddenly something goes wrong. The girl's fingers get caught in the trunk as it closes again. She screams in pain. While everyone's attention turns toward the police vehicle, they begin signaling and shouting for the officer to come. But the officer, seeing the chaos, assumes they're just a bunch of drunk kids fooling around. Still, reluctantly, he turns his car toward them. As he gets closer and starts stepping out of the car, everyone shouts, "Please, don't step on the ground." But to everyone's surprise, nothing happens. The sand doesn't react to him at all. He walks straight over to Jonah and is shocked to see the condition of his stomach. He then turns his attention to the chubby man stuck in the drum and tries to pull him out, but the man is too heavy for him to do it alone. The officer says, "I'll call my team. They'll help rescue you all." But honestly, I still don't understand what exactly you're all doing out here. That's when Jonah's friend tries to explain, "Our friend's fingers are stuck in the car's trunk." The supervisor walks over, but does nothing to help. Seeing this, Jonah's friend starts yelling at him. The supervisor approaches her and says angrily, "Why are you talking to me like that? What's your problem?" She replies, "Can't you see we're all in serious danger? We can't step on the ground. That thing already swallowed 2 of our friends." The supervisor scoffs, "Of course I get stuck with the pranksters. If what you're saying is true, then how am I standing on the ground just fine? All of you, get down now." But Jonah's friends refuse. They knew very well what would happen if they touched the ground. Frustrated that they wouldn't listen, the supervisor angrily pulls out his gun. But while doing so, his keys fall to the ground. As he bends over to pick them up, Jonah's friend shouts, warning him not to put his hand on the sand. But he doesn't listen. The moment he reaches down, the sand demon grabs his hand. The supervisor tries to fight back by spraying something from a canister he's carrying, but it doesn't work. The demon bites off half of his hand. Screaming in agony, the supervisor falls to the sand and is slowly dragged beneath the surface, blood pouring from his arm, until he's completely gone. Just like that, he dies a meaningless death. One of Jonah's friends, watching from the cabin above, runs and grabs the spray he dropped, hoping to use it to protect herself. She tells another girl the supervisor was okay on the sand at first because he was wearing shoes. That's why it didn't attack him immediately. This gives them an idea. What if they wrap towels around their feet and use that to cross the sand? As one of the girls asks another for a towel, she loses her balance while grabbing it and falls to the ground. The sand demon instantly grabs her and pulls her under, just like it had with the others. Another friend gone. Everyone is heartbroken by the loss. They're overcome with grief, but Jonah's friend tries to keep everyone together. She encourages them, saying, "We're going to get out of here through the grill." She removes another grill and drops it to create a makeshift bridge. She then jumps from the cabin down to the car, managing to land safely. Once there, she slaps her friend across the face and yells, "This was your plan to come here in the first place." But now wasn't the time for arguments. Together, they start trying to free the girl whose fingers were still trapped in the trunk. After a difficult struggle, they finally succeed. Her fingers are wounded, and Jonah's friend wraps a towel around her bleeding hand. Meanwhile, the heavy guy still stuck in the drum is in agony. There's no way for him to get out, and his body is starting to bleed from the pressure. The blood is dripping down toward the sand. Below the drum, the sand demon waits, watching, anticipating. Back with the others, the 3 girls manage to extend extend the grill across to the car, creating a narrow escape path. The girl with black hair carefully starts moving across the grills toward Jonah. Then the girl with the injured hand turns to Jonah's friend and says, "It's your turn now. You need to go next." "My hand is bleeding," she adds. "If a drop of blood hits the sand, the creature will attack us." Understanding the urgency, Jonah's friend carefully makes her way toward her, taking the next step in their dangerous escape. After that, the girl with the injured fingers begins walking carefully across the metal grill. But just as she reaches the end, her wounded hand starts bleeding again, and a drop of blood falls onto the sand below. That's when the creature begins to rise from beneath the ground. Seeing it, the girl panics and loses her balance. She falls straight down onto the sand, and in a matter of seconds, the sand demon drags her completely underground. Meanwhile, the chubby man, whose blood had already been dripping from the drum onto the ground, had unknowingly triggered something worse. The sand demon formed a pit around his drum, and its hands began reaching out toward him. On the other side, the black-haired girl wrapped towels around her feet and ran toward the car. Since she never touched the sand directly, the demon couldn't harm her. She quickly reached the supervisor's vehicle unharmed. Seeing this, the chubby man cheered in joy, not realizing death was already waiting for him. Moments later, the sand demon burst from the ground, grabbed the drum, and dragged it along with the man into the earth. The poor guy screamed in terror as he was taken under. Now, only 2 girls remained. The demon, having devoured so many people, had grown in size and power. It began to rise above the surface and move toward the supervisor's car, shaking it violently. One of the girls fell and hit her head, knocking her unconscious. Now, Jonah's friend was all alone. Everyone else was either dead, unconscious, or badly injured. Jonah was gravely wounded, and now her companion was unresponsive. Overwhelmed with fear, she held on as darkness fell and night approached. By midnight, the black-haired girl regained consciousness. Jonah's friend, meanwhile, was trying to help him escape. She somehow got him into the car, but as she climbed in, the sand demon emerged once more, now glowing with a terrifying blue light. It had become massive. The demon grabbed the car door, trying to rip it off. She managed to climb inside and slam the door shut. That's when she noticed a gasoline can on the car. But before she could react, the demon grabbed that too, refusing to let go. Acting quickly, Jonah's friend splashed gasoline all around the car, some of it landing directly on the demon. She immediately lit a fire, and the creature was engulfed in flames. It screamed in agony, writhing and thrashing as the fire consumed it. Taking advantage of the moment, she jumped back into the car and locked the doors. The demon tried to break them open, but the fire had weakened it. It soon lost its strength and slowly sank back into the sand. The 3 survivors, exhausted and terrified, fell asleep inside the car. At sunrise, someone knocked on the car window. It was an unfamiliar man. He looked like a police officer. Jonah's friend slowly stepped out of the car. She hesitated, but when her feet touched the ground, nothing happened. The sand was safe. The black-haired girl also stepped out, and the 2 embraced in relief. They realized the demon had finally died in the fire the previous night. Then they noticed Jonah had passed away from his injuries. But what they didn't know was that the creature wasn't truly dead. Somewhere in the ocean, the sand demon was still alive, freely roaming beneath the waves, heading straight for the main city. And with that, the story come to end.